Welcome, Stache, to episode 53 of Stache Sports. For those who don't know, yesterday Mike Wagner, who was a key role in the backfield as a safety for the Steelers when they won their 4 Super Bowls in the 70s, passed away at 76 yesterday. He appeared in 119 games and had 36 career interceptions. I think he's in the top 5 or one of the top people of the Steelers safeties that have the most interceptions in his career. He was one of the great players and had 4 Super Bowls and was one of the great safeties. He came in as an 11th round draft pick because back in the old day, back before they did it to 7 rounds or whatever it is now, they used to have 11 round picks. He was an 11 round pick and no one knew who he was. Last night on a nightly sports call, Pomp was talking about him. Bob Pompani, he's one of the trusted sportscasters up here, and said that he came in as a receiver first, but didn't really work out receiver. And at the time, Coach Chuck Noll moved him to safety, which turned out to be one of the best decisions that Chuck Noll made, since he had a total of 30 career interceptions and one of the better safeties in the Steelers back then. May he rest in peace. Also, today's episode 53. For those who don't know, one of the best centers in my lifetime to play for the Steelers is Maurkice Pouncey. Maurkice Pouncey wore number 53 for the Steelers. He was one of the great centers during the time. He was one of the great centers during the time of Roethlisberger era. But Maurkice Pouncey from Florida was a great center for the Steelers. He had that offensive line protected Roethlisberger really well when Maurkice Pouncey was there. We missed Maurkice Pouncey. 53, Maurkice Pouncey was one of the greatest centers. Let's hope that Frazier, who's our new center from West Virginia, can live up to the hype that Maurkice Pouncey did from the University of Florida. Let's hope he can be the next great center like we need, like we had in Maurkice Pouncey when we had Roethlisberger and we had a good team. Let's hope that he can live up to Maurkice Pouncey and do as good as he did. But only time will tell on how good Adam Frazier will be. But 53 is the number of Maurkice Pouncey from the University of Florida. Today it's the USA Women's Hockey game, but I will be watching it later with my folks later on tonight, and I recorded. I did not know who won or the score, so no spoilers. We'll find out later tonight, and I'll talk more about that and the outcome tomorrow, no matter if Canada beats the USA in women's hockey or whoever wins. But I'll talk more about that outcome tomorrow in tomorrow's video. But right now, it looks like the NBA is back on tonight after having an All-Star week. I wonder how many of my stashers who watch basketball also watch the NBA All-Star game. I mean, I watch basketball sometimes, but I really don't watch the All-Star game because the Olympics are on and the Daytona 500 and other stuff are on during that time. So I wasn't watching but out of my stashers, who was watching it? But today is the day that the NBA starts back up again. Tonight, the Celtics play the Warriors. I like Steph Curry, but I really do think the Boston Celtics are going to show up tonight with Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and company. Maybe Vukic, the new guy they traded for from the Hawks, shows up tonight. From the Bulls, shows up tonight and does really good, and shows his Celtics pride. I still haven't heard how good Jason Tatum's doing, because I heard he might be practicing again with the main Celtics, but I haven't heard how good he's doing. But last up, the Celtics won. The Celtics are 35-19 and 17-10 away. And they're playing away tonight. The Golden State Warriors are 18-10 at home. And they're playing at home tonight. It starts at 10 p.m. on Prime Video. Oh, that's I guess I'll be watching tonight. It starts at 10 p.m. on Prime Video. The Celtics play the Warriors on Prime Video. And but let's see. Let's hope Jaylen Brown has a good game, or Derek White, or maybe one of these other Celtics that is under the radar. Our coach is really turning them around, and Brad Stevens is did good trades to help the Celtics out. Let's hope the Celtics continue their ways. They're one of the top teams right now in the Eastern Conference, and who would have thought that they would have been the top team in the Eastern Conference when they lost one of their superstars in Jason Tatum. But Jaylen Brown and Derek White and company have been really stepping up in their absence. And yes, I know we lost people like Kristaps Porzingis from our championship team and other players that made a key role in our championship run for the last championship we got. But let's hope the Celtics can win tonight. The Rockets over the Hornets. The Rockets are coming in 33-20 and 15-13 away. And the Hornets are 26-29 and 12-14 at home. If you're betting, you probably bet the Rockets because that's a little bit of a better of a record. But the Rockets and the Hornets are both teams that are in need of help. It will probably not make a deep playoff run, if any at all. They got the Cavaliers over the Brooklyn Nets because the Brooklyn Nets aren't that good this year. And we all know the Brooklyn Nets suck. Excuse me, I shouldn't say it suck on the broadcast. The Brooklyn Nets are the Brooklyn Nets only have 7 wins away. That's pretty bad. They're 15-38 overall. But we'll see what happens to that. They got the Hawks over 76ers. The New Look Hawks over 76ers. Because the 76ers have been blowing games of late. They haven't been looking good. And I don't know if Joel Embiid's going to play tonight because it always seems that Joel Embiid's always hurt. Like Anthony Davis. Joel Embiid's always out or whatever. But I don't know if he's going to play. The Wizards, I got the Wizards over the Pacers. That's both a winner game. I don't know who's going to win. The Pacers only have 9 wins at home this year. The Wizards only have 9 wins at home. That's pretty awful. I got the Knicks over I got the Pistons over the Knicks. The Pistons are one of the top teams this year. I think they beat Jalen Brunson and the Knicks, but I think it's a close game. But we'll see. I don't know. But I think the Pistons beat the Knicks, and that's awesome. And that's also on Prime Video at 7:30. I got the Bulls over the Raptors. I got the Raptors over the Bulls because the Bulls are in a rebuilding year, and I don't think they'll be able to beat the Raptors. I got the Spurs and Victor Yamba over Devin Booker and the Suns. I like Devin Booker and the Suns, but I think Victor Yamba and that young Spurs team is going to be too much for the Phoenix Suns to handle tonight, and I think the Phoenix Suns are going to lose. I got the Magic over the Sacramento Kings because I do not like anything in Sacramento. I don't know why. I just don't. But I don't think the Sacramento Kings are going to be able to win tonight. I think even though it's going to be a late game for the Orlando Magic, I think the Magic will be able to win tonight. The Magic are 28-25 and 14-10 away from home. Last but not least, I think the Nuggets beat the Clippers, but we'll see. If you like my picks, let me know. If you think I'm wrong and I have no idea what I'm talking about, also let me know. Baseball Kid or whoever. I like the comments. I know in the NCAA picks for tonight, I got Vermont over UMBC. I got UMBC over Vermont. Man, these are crappy games tonight. I got New Hampshire over UMass Lowell. I got Birmingham over Bryant. I got Florida International over Liberty. I got Whipton over South Carolina Upstate. App State over Marshall. South Florida over Memphis. Bethune-Cookman over Alabama State. High Point, because that's a cool name, over UNC Asheville. Longwood over Presbyterian. Damn, what the hell am I on today? Presbyterian. But that's it. Hawaii. I don't know. All these games are pretty bad. Okay, I know I rambled on, but that's enough of college basketball. I guess it's no top 25 games. Those are my picks. I know I rambled on a little bit, but I guess it's no top 25 today. They must have a day off today. Oh, the divisional one. Well. But whatever. That's what last night the USA men's hockey game went to overtime. It was 1-0 for the longest time. The USA men's hockey team are winning. But late in the game, Sweden tied it up with 1 minute and 30 left to go, making it go to overtime. What a heck of a game it was last night. It had you on the edge of your seat. I love it how they do in the winter hockey, Winter Olympics hockey, how they have 3-on-3 for 10 minutes. I wish the NHL would do that. The NHL has it for 5 minutes, but that's not enough time. And then they go to a shootout where they just shoot at the goaltender. Sometimes that doesn't work out. If they did the 5-on-5 or 10-minute periods, it might make it better. I mean, I do like the overtime in hockey, but still, it might make it a little more interesting if they did that. But we'll see. But like I said, the United States beat Sweden 2-1. It looked like it was a 0-0 game. It was back and forth all the time. Both the goaltenders were looking really good last night. for the USA and both Sweden. Sweden, I think, is one of the second teams, like I said in yesterday's video, that might have the most NHL players on their team besides Canada and the US. I could be wrong about that, or I could be right. The first goal was scored by Dylan Larkin of the Detroit Red Wings in the second period, assisted by Jack Hughes and Quentin Hughes, the Hughes brothers. That's good. It made it 1-0, like I said. But with a minute and 30 left in the third period, final period of the game, Micah Zibanejad, or however you say his name, tied it up with 1-1, assisted by Lucas Raymond and Gabriel Ladowski. But that tied it 1-1. The USA looked like they had a couple good shots before the game ended and went to overtime. But the goaltender for the goaltender for the Sweden did not let it go, so it went to overtime. The third game going overtime. After the game, Mike Sirico said that made history. I don't think, if I heard Mike Sirico right, I think he said that made history yesterday with all three of the semifinal games and the men's hockey going to overtime. And we'll get to the other two later on after we do the American video, after we do the United States. So the United States is going back and forth in the overtime, but finally, 3 minutes and 27 into the overtime, because they go NHL, the clock counts up when they do the score. Both 3 minutes in the overtime, the USA finally got a goal, hitting off the iron with Jack Hughes, assisted by Matt Brody and Austin Matthews. Jack Hughes was the American hero last night and played the Freebird as the United States move on and will play Slovakia tomorrow at 3:10 p.m. and wait to win the Canada and Finland game to see who they play in the finals if they win. But tomorrow they play Slovakia. And tomorrow's video will search up how many Slovakians are NHL players. They're looking pretty good right now. These are the better games right now. You love it when all three games go into overtime. Nothing that's ever been done before. I mean, I get it. People don't want the NHL All-Stars in there because, like Crosby, he got hurt yesterday. But right now, all I know of right now, before they play tomorrow, is he's day-to-day. But that's another question. That's another question right now. If he's day-to-day and he's 50% and he wants to play, if you're the Canadian coach and you know how much he means to the Penguins and the NHL, do you let him? If he's 50-50 and can re-injure himself or hurt himself even more if he does come back, but do you let him play? I know it's only 5 years and this could be his last Olympics, but do you risk it and do you let him play? I know he might play in a regular season game anyway if he was hurt 50-50 if it counted, but I don't know what's going to happen. But that's a tough decision of athletes in these situations. It's like, do you play in the Olympics and risk an injury? Or do you play in the Olympics and risk your injury if you could get risked even more? But I don't know. We'll see what happens, and I'll keep my Staches and my pizzas up to date on what happens to Sid the Kid. But let's hope he's okay. But if he is day-to-day, that's a lot better than what was feared to be at first, even missing a longer period of time. Because like I said, the Penguins are really hot right now and do not need to have any more setbacks right now because they're looking to make a playoff run this year and get to the playoffs for the first time, I think, in 3 years or whatever it's been. It's been a while since the Penguins have been in the playoffs, but we'll see. Slovakia won 6-2 yesterday. That's who the United States is playing tomorrow in men's hockey. We'll go to the goals. I know I'm probably going to butcher your names because it's Slovakians. Pavel Renegade had a goal for Slovakia. Mikos Kielman had a goal. Oliver had a goal. Dalibor had a goal. And Renegade had a goal too. I probably not pronounced that guy's name right, but whatever. Thomas Tatar had a goal. An empty netter. I know Thomas Tatar. I know he's an NHL player. At least I know there's one NHL player, but the Slovakians are going to have to play against. But they played Germany, and Germany was 1-2 coming into it. And he scored 2 goals. That was the only game that wasn't close yesterday. Because Canada won 4-3 in overtime against the Czechs. That was a wild game too. The Czechs are winning, but the Canadians came back late and tied it up like Sweden did yesterday against the United States. Shabrani, the young guy from the San Jose Sharks, is really making a name for himself in the Canadian Hockey League this year in the Winter Olympics. Stache had a goal for Czechs. David Pastrnak had a goal. I know David Pastrnak. He plays for the Boston Bruins, and he's really good. But he had a goal for the Czechs on the power play by Phil Pornik, who's also an NHL player. Nathan McKinnon, who's an NHL player, had a power play goal by assist by Connor McDavid and that other guy from the San Jose Sharks. Palatse had a goal for the Czechs, making it 3-2 Czechs over Canada. And then late, with a couple minutes left in the second period, Nick Sawinski scored, tying it up, making it overtime. The second game, that first game, I think that day going to overtime. I think Canada played first, but I could be wrong. And then in overtime, Mitch Marner scored, assisted by Savelli and Thomas Harley, making Canadian win 4-3. That was the Canadians' first real test of the year, in my opinion. That was a good game. Like to have these games that are close and going into overtime and having a 10-2, even if my team is winning in the Olympics. But that was a good Winter Olympic game. Also, Finland, who they're playing, won 2-1 over 3-2 over Switzerland in overtime. 3 games going to overtime. Like I said, I'm pretty sure Mike Tirico said that's the first time that's ever happened in Winter Olympic history. In this round, Damien Ratte had the first goal for Switzerland, and then Niedermayer had the second goal. They scored both of the first goals in the first period for Switzerland, and were not able to score the rest of the game, making them 3 unanswered goals for Finland. Sebastian Aho, who plays in the NHL, he had a goal, making it 3-1. And then Haskin had a goal, making it 3-2. Or 2-2. Excuse me, my math is off. 2-2 in the third period. So nobody had goals in the second period. So so Switzerland was winning 2-0 going into the third period, and then Finland scored. Finland scored. Need to slow down a little bit because I keep messing up. Finland scored twice, and then in overtime they scored again, making it 3-2, and making them move on. It's going to be an interesting Final Four to see who goes to play for the gold medal game and who has to play for the bronze. Let's hope the USA can play for gold and beat Canada. It's going to be interesting to see. Tomorrow, Canada plays early in the morning, and the United States plays at 3:10 p.m. in the afternoon. But that's going to be an interesting Winter Olympics so far. Last night in the Winter Olympics, Michaela Shiffrin got a gold medal in women's airplane skiing. She is one of the most decorated women's airplane skiing. So glad to see her win gold yet again, because who knows how much longer Shiffrin's going to be able to compete. She is getting older. I'm glad she got gold, so she can at least have a gold medal if this is her last Olympics. She was a real great Olympian so far. I love watching all her Olympics in the past. If this is her last Olympics, if she's getting older, then so be it. But she might be back because there are other people that are older. But I don't know what she's going to do to come. I don't know what she's going to do. If she come, I mean, she might come back in the next years, but I don't know how old she's going to be, and if her body will still be able to do all that stuff as she did. But we will see. We will see what happens to that. But congratulations to Michaela Shiffrin for getting gold last night and having another gold medal for the United States. I'm not going to look at the gold medals because the United States women's game might be over by now, and I don't want to know. So that's another gold medal. So if you want to go back and see how many medals we have, if you don't want to look about ESPN like I do, then go back in tomorrow's video and add one more gold medal to the count right now. But that was a great stuff. She had some pretty good ski jumps and other stuff she did in the Winter Olympics. Her jumps and runs are really good. So glad she won gold because, like I said, I remember her being in a lot of Winter Olympics. I don't know how old she is, but I don't know if it's. I hope it's not her last. But if it is, I'm glad she went out as a winner. In women's relay final, France came in first, Sweden came in second, and Norway came in third, adding another gold medal. And we know Norway was in first place of last night when I did the video and we were talking about it. In women's cross-country skiing, Sweden came in first, Switzerland came in second, and Germany came in third. In men's sprint final, Norway came in second. The United States came in second. Norway came in first, and the United States came in second. Of Ben and Gus. So that's another medal, another silver medal. If you need to add a medal count, that's another silver medal for the United States. And Italy came in third. In freestyle skiing, China came in first, Australia came in second, and China came in third. In short track speeding, South Korea came in first, Italy and Canada. And Canada came in first, Netherlands, and men's 500 meters. And snowboarding, the United States came in first, Jay Carter, getting bronze, so adding another medal. Japan and China came in first. And Japan and women's slopestyle, Japan, and New Zealand. Last night for the Winter Olympics was mostly snowboarding. I'm so glad I watched the snowboarding. They've been doing a lot of ice skating. I know we probably have more ice skating tonight in the Winter Olympics, but it was nice to watch the snowboarding different last night. I liked watching the snowboarding. There also was a dog that ran away and was in there. It was pretty funny watching the dog. He was somebody's pet and he was safe, but it was funny to watch him run alongside the athletes when they showed him. But we'll see what happens tonight and watch the USA women's game later. Hopefully they can get gold over Canada, but who knows? Canada also played them earlier in Group Stage C. So like other teams that play each other, you might know their tendencies and might know how to game plan better. So would Canada be able to game plan better today against the United States? But we'll see. Like I said, Sidney Crosby is out day to day right now, as a latest report I heard from local reporters and people who I trust. But let's hope he can come back stronger for the Penguins. And those reports are true. Nothing else is a setback. But I'll keep you updated. Another name to watch in the Pittsburgh Pirates, because I love talking about my Pirates, is the pitcher. I know I've been talking a lot about our shortstop, Connor Griffin. But the other name to watch out for is Bubba Chandler. He's a pitcher. I know we have people like Jerry Jones coming up after an injury from last year. And we still have other people like Paul Skeens. He's the best pitcher in all baseball, in my opinion. And Mitch Keller, who's a pretty good pitcher. But watch out for Bubba Chandler. Bubba Chandler could be another decent pitcher for the Pirates. He was in the farm system last year and was talked about high, but had a little bit of an off year. So let's hope he can get back to his high talk when he was one of the top prospects. But Bubba Chandler is a name to watch out for. I'm so excited about baseball starting again. But like I said, in tomorrow's video, we'll talk about the Winter Olympics and talk about the USA women's hockey game and if they won or lost and what I thought about it. And then we'll get geared up for tomorrow's game against Slovakia and hope that the United States can play for the gold game on Sunday, which I believe is on Sunday or Saturday, but I'll get more into that later. But thank you for watching my videos. Your Stache. If you have any comments or any concerns, please leave them below. Also, I'm doing good for those who've had my axe. But thank you for watching my videos, your Stache. If you have, like I said, if you have any comments, please like and share my videos so I can get more views. So get higher views. But thank you for sharing my videos and liking them. And watching my videos. If you have any comments, please leave them below.